This old diesel tank has been underground for the last 50, 60 years. So there's a lot of rust and scaling that needs to be removed to be able to use for our purpose. So the first thing we're gonna do is get our apprentice Blake set up to start cleaning and grinding this tank down, getting it all cleaned up and prepped so we can start cutting out wheel well openings and making our compartments that'll hold the kegs of beer. So if this thing's gonna be an 18-wheeler, it needs to have an 18-wheeler hitch plate. We located one at Dave's Truck Repair, loaded it up, brought it back, cleaned it all up, and now we're gonna weld it to the frame. Typically, an 18-wheeler would have giant side fuel tanks on either side of the cab. In our situation, we're gonna be using a Jazz fuel cell to hold all of our diesel fuel. So to complete the look, we're gonna go ahead and weld up a couple of these beer kegs and turn them into hollowed out covers that cover our air tank system and our batteries. Because we're putting our engine and transmission behind the cab on this project, it left us a perfect spot to put our 30-gallon Jazz fuel cell underneath of the COE cab. For our cooling system, we contacted Mishimoto and located the perfect size radiator to fit in the front of our 46 Chevy COE. They also supplied us with the overflow bottle and everything we needed to plumb the system. So the exterior finish on this tanker project is kind of an interesting thing. The tank had its own natural patina as well as did the cab, but they really didn't match each other. So in an effort to give a nice uniform look to the tanker, we decided to take everything down to bare steel and then use our chemical finish that we use from Steel FX. Even though the Steel FX patinas are designed mostly for smaller parts and pieces, we've been perfecting the process of using Steel FX patinas on entire vehicles. So not only we're going to do this Copper FX treatment on the entire body and tank of this truck, we're also going to do the wheels and a ton of other small components that go on this to complete the look. So we've got our 20-inch Detroit steel wheels mounted up on some 35-inch pit bull rockers. This is Steel FX. They have a whole line of different products. We're going to use the Copper FX. What it's going to do is going to put a microscopic layer of copper on the wheel. We're going to neutralize it with water, dry it off, put a layer of clear on it, good to go. So today's a big day for the Roy Pitts tanker project. The brand new 5.9 Cummins that we ordered from CA Conversions just showed up today. We're gonna go ahead and break it down, strip off all the things we don't need, and then start putting in the heavy duty injectors and upgraded P-pump to really get this 5.9 Cummins to make some serious power. We decided we wanted to have a multi-stage forced induction setup on this 5.9 Cummins. So Turbonetics sent us a small turbo and then a larger turbo that kicks in at higher RPMs. We're going to plumb and link the whole thing together with MBRP exhaust. It's going to culminate in an exhaust stack right at the backside of the cab. The Allison transmission is widely known as one of the best options for an automatic transmission behind a high horsepower diesel. Our friends at CA Conversions sent us a brand new built Allison transmission that comes complete with everything you need to hook it up to our 5.9 Cummins. The adapter plate, wiring harnesses, and the computer system to make everything run and shift properly.
In Kenny's case, we're actually able to help him acquire a new 12 valve from Mopar and provided him with all of the flex plates, the adapters, the remanufactured transmission, the custom torque converter, all of the electronics, the tap shifter, and everything to actually make it operate as if it came that way factory.
The folks at CA Conversions are the industry leaders in Allison transmission conversions to whatever power plant you plan on running in your vehicle. So if you're looking to put an Allison in your next project, reach out to the folks at CA Conversions and let them fix you up with a perfect setup for your next rig. So now we finally reached the plumbing stage on our tanker project. It's time to run oil lines and fuel lines. We're going to be using Fragola fittings and hoses for a superior fit and finish.
So our friends at Fragola Performance Systems hooked us up with some really unique hose. It's a multi-use. You can run any type of fuel or oils that you want through it. If you get into a tight situation, you can put this thing in any coil or position that you want and not have to worry about it kinking on you.
Wiring on any custom project can be a real chore. This COE tanker project has twice as many wires than any normal project. We utilize a complete painless wiring system to really simplify and streamline the whole process, enabling us to provide power to all of the different systems on this vehicle. One of the trademark features of a rat rod is this super mean low down stance. In order to achieve that on this tanker project, we're going to need a lot of airbags and a really nice system to make it all happen. We've decided to go with a RideTech air ride system. It comes complete with everything you need, including all the airbags, air tanks, compressors, valves, and a complete control system.
One of the things we like about this RideTech system, you can control everything right from your smartphone with the RideTech app.
After we got our front air springs from RideTech located where they needed to be in the front axle, we noticed that we're going to have some major clearance issues with the factory steering arm. Marshall at Rare Parts designed us a custom unit, and then we utilized our Alpha laser to cut out a brand new steering arm to make everything work and function, whether it's at full ride height or slammed super low.
We know the tanker has precious cargo, so Rare Parts had to manufacture a custom drag link and tie rod assembly for the application. We have Fab Series parts, and then we even have an original OE drag link on the tanker truck. So when you have precious cargo like beer, you better be sure you have great steering parts.
On this project, we wanted to go with hydraulic brakes. That creates a real challenge when it comes to the trailer tank portion of our project. In order to have hydraulic brakes on this back half, we utilized a Hydrostar electric to hydraulic conversion system for the braking. That enables us to plug it in with a simple trailer plug and give us good brakes on our trailer. We're going to be utilizing a Micromatic glycol cooling system and chiller to keep all of our beer cold on this tanker project. My buddy Jan is in the shop today to go over all the details of this Micromatic system and do the complete install.
Hi, I'm Jan from Craft Alliance Packaging Solutions. I'm here at Hauk Designs today to help install this Micromatic equipment into the new Roy Pitts beer tanker. How this system works is it uses compressed carbon dioxide through a control regulator that separates out the gas to each individual keg to provide individual keg pressure, and then dispenses the beer back out through this glycol chilled trunk line that will come all the way out to the faucet on the other end. So the trunk line has a cooling loop inside it to keep the beer cold, and that cooling is provided by the Oprima glycol chiller from Micromatic. So now we've got everything set up, done our inventory, made sure everything looks like it's gonna fit. We're gonna take it on over the tanker and see if we can get all these parts in together.
This build is already an over-the-top, attention-getting vehicle, but we figured why not take it over the edge and add a Horn Blaster's air horn system. That way we can announce our presence everywhere we go. We decided to give the air horns a trial run by testing out on its new owner, Jesse from Roy Pitts, to see if he likes the new air horns. So some of my favorite components on this COE tanker project are the aluminum details. They started life as a chunk of raw aluminum up at Mountain Machine, where my buddy Steve put it into a CNC milling machine and turned it into a beautiful piece. Then it was handed off to Hernan from Engrave, who then hand engraved beautiful detail work all over the piece. So now we're going to take all of these pieces up to Pittsburgh to Paul's Chrome Plating, where they're going to be dipped in their tanks and come out with a beautiful copper finish.
Hi, I'm Jim Hespenheid. I'm the president of Paul's Chrome Plating. We're in Evans City, Pennsylvania, which is a suburb of Pittsburgh, PA. We restore antique automobile parts, and we've been doing it since 1977. We get all types of parts here from antique automobiles. Everything from door handles to window trim to bumpers and engine components. Kenny called me the other day and asked if we could do some copper parts without putting the nickel and chrome on top. I said absolutely. We've done that for other customers before for motorcycles, but this is the first time we've done it for a 40s tractor trailer. Let's see how this thing turns out. The first step in the plating process is getting the part very clean. This is an ultrasonic cleaning bath to remove the grease and grime from the pores of the metal. After the ultrasonic cleaning comes the hand scrub and inspection. We want to scrub it by hand and make sure that all of the dirt is out of this beautiful engraving that says Hauk. Next, we have to connect the part to a copper hook to get good electrical contact in the tank. Every base metal has a certain set of steps to make plating stick to it. With aluminum, first we dip it into a tri-acid to remove any soap scum and open up the pores of the material to accept plating. Then we have a simple water rinse and another rinse. After the water rinse comes the zincate, where we're precipitating zincate into the pores of the aluminum. This step is critical to get good adhesion onto the aluminum substrate. When we have a nice even zinc film on the part, we come into the first rinse and then the second rinse. The next step in the aluminum plating process is going into the dull nickel tank for optimum adhesion and your base layer plating. Here we're running electricity through the nickel solution, plating the dissolved nickel ions out onto the zincated surface of the aluminum. After 30 minutes of nickel to seal up the aluminum and give us a good base layer plating, we have to take the part out and rinse it over here. Okay. Now, after an additional spray rinse and inspection, now we can go into the copper plating tank. Follow me. This process is 30 seconds to 1 minute, and then we'll rinse it off, and we'll go into the thick build-up copper tank for several hours. The next step is to get it in the high build copper tank. We'll be in this tank for several hours to build a thick, malleable, ductile layer of very dense, non-porous copper. So now we're copper plating this piece by running electricity into the sides of the tank, and we have electric flowing through the sulfuric acid, copper sulfate, and water, pulling the dissolved metal ions out on the part, which is hooked up as the ground. So in a few hours, you're going to have a shiny new penny for the front of that truck.
That's awesome.
There's your shiny new penny for the front of that truck.
It came out great. It was an incredible experience to actually watch the copper plating process. We learned a lot. I can't wait to get back in the shop and get these pieces on the tanker project.
Being a fan of trucks, I am very excited to be part of this project. I can't wait to see our copper parts on this when it's done.